Before we start, you probably noticed that this thumbnail is different from all my other thumbnails. That's because this thumbnail was made by Epideli. He just offered to make it one day, so here it is. Epideli also made the new banner for my channel. So, on with the scenario. This scenario of a Central Power victory in World War I is in the same timeline as the Mexican-American War alternate history. There isn't really a reason for this. I just like interconnectedness and decided it'd be cool if these two scenarios were together. Because we talked all about America in the Mexican-American War video, this will focus primarily on the Old World, specifically Europe. So let me explain out how these two scenarios merge together. Mexico joins the Central Powers when the US invades them. This means that the US joins the Entente. This is pretty early in the war, meaning American troops are being sent to Europe in 1915. But the forces sent over are significantly less than in our timeline, because America is tied up fighting Mexico. Yet, Germany is still scared by the American troops in the West, so it goes on the defensive, while redirecting their power to Russia. Everyone entrenches, so the war doesn't change that much, until the Russian Revolution allows the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk to be signed, freeing all the German troops in the east to be redirected to the west. At this point is 1918, and the war's apparent pointlessness is taking its toll on the French soldiers. America is still fighting Mexico, the Germans are being reinforced by their eastern troops, and any attack by France just means a lot of death and no real progress. The French soldiers go up to their commanders and ask to go home. "What do you mean, go home? We have a war to fight," said the French commanders. "Now go out there and die for your country." Then the French soldiers reply, "Yeah, but how about no?" And mutinies flare up all over the front lines. The British forces and the small amount of American forces can't keep up without the French troops, and the German eastern forces just got here, so a new German assault makes a lot of progress. This then spearheads new German assaults that go farther and farther each time until finally the Germans reach Paris. They surround and siege Paris, and France eventually surrenders, even though Paris was never successfully taken. The German troops are then redeployed to the other fronts of the war, mostly Italy, the Balkans, and the Middle East. Britain and America do the same thing, but the process is slow for everyone, as it means reorganizing entire armies. The Germans make advances at these new fronts, pushing them all the way to, oh no, it seems Mexico has capitulated, and the American forces have been freed to fight in Europe again. These aren't the doughboys of our timeline. These are battle-hardened soldiers who have fought Mexican guerrilla fighters for years. American industry has been kicked into high gear, and, "God damn it, US," said Germany. "Now the Great War has basically started all over again. Do you seriously want to fight for another couple of years?" "Alright, fine," said America. "A deal is struck between the US and Germany, and they are out of there." "Fine," said Britain, and the war was over in 1920. Russia and France had a lot taken away, but Britain kept a good amount of their stuff, the biggest loss being the independence for the larger parts of the empire and some African territories going to Germany. America was not affected at all. The Russian Civil War continues on like it did, but since World War I took longer than expected, the anti-communist White Army doesn't get any foreign support until it's too late, while the Soviet Red Army also gets no foreign support. This doesn't change the outcome of the war, the Soviets still win, but they do win slightly faster. Also, Trotsky becomes the leader of Soviet Russia, for no other reason than it makes a better story. Trotsky wanted to spread communism everywhere he could, so Germany was afraid he'd bring socialism to Europe. A coup spearheaded by Germany was started, but it failed completely. Also, Mussolini takes control of Italy. I have nothing else to say about that. The Ottoman Empire was dying before World War I even started, and while it expanded slightly afterwards, it was not enough. The British started Arab revolts, and they were doing pretty well, but Germany started to invest in keeping them down during the end of the war, and the Brits just bailed after the peace treaty. But US soldiers showed up during the war, and American business invested in all that oil, so now the Arabs were really rich trading with America. Then a plan was hatched by the Arabs. Hey, what if we exclusively sell our oil to people who support our war effort? Alright. This is totally not a way for the US to get oil. I don't know what you're talking about. Germany was supporting the Ottomans, not the Arabs, so suddenly lost access to Arab oil. Ugh, fine. I'll just take my business elsewhere. I'll just make Romania make up for all the oil you won't give me. Excuse me? So Romania was overworked producing all the oil Germany needed, and, being a puppet and all, didn't really get that much in return. Trotsky took this as the perfect opportunity to spark a socialist revolution. So, sparked a socialist revolution. The Romanian oil fields became a battleground between police and revolutionaries. Now cut off from their source of oil, Germany panicked as gas got really expensive. Europe saw Germany panicking, so they started panicking, and now everyone was panicking, while the US just watched and laughed at them all. The oil crisis caused Europe to scramble over oil from places like Persia and Venezuela, driving up the price even more. The crisis exaggerated the Romanian situation, causing it to spill over into Austria-Hungary, bringing socialist, nationalist, and separatist movements from across the empire. These revolutions are just the excuse Mussolini needs to liberate Italian minority regions in Austria. Trotsky sees Austria-Hungary as the perfect place for the rise of socialism. Alliances and deals are made in the Balkans, Germany prepares its armies to regain control of Europe, and Britain and France are ready to get revenge, as the world prepares for one more war. But that is a story for another video.